All right, so let's continue. So now what we are going to do is, we'll try to create two APIs where one API is to fetch the data or fetch the student data from the database, and second API to add a data to a database. Okay, so let's go to our Eclipse again. So here I'll stop my server over here, like by clicking this right color button. So like this, if I want, you can close all the console as well. And okay, so first we'll create an API, but before that we need to create all the packages. Like suppose if you want to create, means if you want to add a student data, means we need the student attributes. So for that, what we are going to do, we'll be creating a model of a student or entity of a student basically. Okay, so let's create a package called model or a entity, anything. So let's say like this, a class will be called student. Okay, so this is the model or entity where we can able to give or define our student attribute. So I'll just tell you what and all it is. So let's say package name will be com.college dot model. Okay, or model or entities, you can take anything you want. Okay, so here we have a model package. So inside that I have a student. So let's say now let's include what all the attributes we wanted. Okay, so let's say I want a student ID. So let's say first thing I'll keep as int ID. Okay, so next one I want a student name. So let's say string a name, and next let's take string branch. Okay, branch, and like this, like branch in the sense computer science, information science, electronic and communication, like that. Okay, so branch, and next we'll take email ID of a student, and let's say string string address. Okay, so let's say int phone number. I'll keep it as phone. Okay, so as of now we'll take only this one for understanding purpose. So if you want, you can add any attributes you wanted. Okay, so let's say now what we need to do means we need to add a getters and setters. Okay, so click a right button, go for source, and here go for getters and setters. And I tell you, if you don't remember why we add this getters and setters, I'll just tell you right now. So why getters and setters? Because if you want to set a value for this variables, means by when you call this get id, you can able to get the id where the value is stored in the id variable. So if you want to set a value for this id variable, means you can directly call this call this function, and inside that function you pass a parameter of any id. That id will be set to id, like this. So we'll understand, like when we start writing our code, you guys going to understand one by one. So if you get any confusion at this point of time, means okay. Yeah, let's continue again. So here we have our all getters and setters, like get id, set id, get name, set name, get branch, set branch. Same thing. All the variables we have declared over here, everything getters and setters. So here I want the constructor as well. So go for source again, source, and here constructor using fields. I want to take two types of constructor. One is default constructor and one more is parameterized constructor. So let's say like this and generate. So here I have my constructor, this parameterized constructor. So I'll take one more constructor with the superclass constructor from superclass. So generate. So this is done. And one more thing we wanted. Okay, I'll include now itself. So I'll tell you what is this. Source go for generate to string. Means when you get the data from your database, means you cannot able to understand what kind of data you are getting. So we are using this string to string, means what are the data we are getting, that we are converting into a string, and that data will be returned. Okay, so yeah. So here we have created our model called student, and we have defined all the attributes which we wanted. So now what we want to do means where we are going to store all this data. We need to store all this data in our database, right? So we have created our database called student. So in that student database, we'll create table. Okay, we'll create a table called anything. Okay, no problem. So first go to our workbench. So here we have our student database. So let's create a table. Okay, just expand this. Here you can able to see a table. Click a right button, go for create table. All right. So let's say we have gave a database name as student. So let's change the table name. Okay. So table name will give as student info. Okay. So student student I will okay. Let's keep it as students. Okay. Table name will be students. Okay. No problem. So here the first column will be, and this has to be same as your model. So here we have use model, right? So first one is id, second one is branch a name. So id I'll keep it as int itself. I'm not going to use all any of this row here. So if you know SQL you can use it, but I don't want to use this as of now. Okay. So next one will be student name of type string, means varchar here. So id we have gave int in our model as well, and here varchar is nothing but like a string. Okay. So name, let's say next we have branch. So branch also will keep it as varchar, and next what and all we have. So name, branch, email, address, phone. So email, address, phone. So here we have email, email, address, and phone. Okay, like this. So and this phone has to be a int type or number type. You can, I'll keep it as int as of now. So everything is set. So just go through it. ID, name, branch, email, address, phone. So let's check again. ID, name, branch, email, address, phone. Yeah, we are good. So let's apply over here. Your table will be generated. So you need to click on apply over here again and finish. Okay. So now if you expand this table, you can able to see a students table. If you can see over here, there is an icon called like table kind of icon. If you click there, you can able to see the structure of your table at the bottom. So as you can see, we don't have any data as of now, right? So now I'm going to add a student data. Okay, means from the database itself, I'll going to add. Later, I'm going to add a student data from a Spring Boot application. Okay, or from a Java application. So let's say insert into what students, or table name is students. So first one will be id, I'll keep it as 1, and second one let's take John. Okay. So branch could be computer science, and email, let's say john@mail.com, and next we have address, let's say Bangalore, and next we have phone number. I'll enter some random numbers, semicolon, and here you can see, okay, I have missed one keyword. So after students, we need to mention our keyword code values. Okay, these are all the values, right? So yeah. So to run this or to execute this query, you need to click on this thunder kind of icon over here. Just click on that, and so if you open this table again, you can able to see a data of a student has been inserted in our table, right? So now same thing. See, first I'm going to create one API to fetch the student data. To fetch that, I need to have some data in my database, right? So that's why I have added this data over here. Okay, so now I'm going to my Eclipse again. So let's create a service. Okay, it's service. So for service, I'll be creating a package. Okay, so let's say package name will be like oh wait, and one more thing, service has to be of type interface. So that service, in the sense, we are going to define what all the methods we need to perform on a student or a perform on a model or an entity. Means we are going to define those methods in a service, and in service IMPL we are going to implement that service. I'll tell you one by one. Okay, so let's create an interface. Okay, new interface, and let's change the package name .com.college to let's say service oh sorry, it's small letter service, and service name will be like student service. Okay, done. So now we'll click on finish, and it is good. So our interface has been created. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to define. Okay, I'm going to define what the operation I need to perform. So first I need to perform get operation, means I need to get the data from a database. So I'm going to define that. So public, and this data, this method is going to return of type string, means whenever the data, means what are the data I'll get from the database, that I'll store it in a list, and that list I'm going to return. So that's why I'm giving the return type as list. Okay, so if you are getting confusion, no problem, so we can solve it properly. So student, and I need to mention what type of list it is, or what type of return type list data will be there. So it will be of type student. So why student? Those, this is the student where we have created a model, right? So we are telling to that list that this kind of data will come to the list. So that's why we are specifying that type. All right. So then it's normal function name. So let's say our method name. So get students. Okay, get students like this semicolon. That's all. So now we can see an error. That's because we need to import this list and a student. So let's import this first. So over here, let's import the first one list, and let's import the student as well. So import it, done. Okay, so now let's save everything. And here we have defined the method. See, we have defined the method, but we are not writing. So we are not writing the body of the method, right? So for that, we're gonna use another package to implement this service. Okay, so let's create a new package called service IMP, means service implementation. I'm going to call this class name as student service IMPM, means student service implementation. Here we have defined, here we are implementing. So package name will be called like com.college.service IMPL. Package name will be service IMPL, means service implementation. So let's click on finish, and it's done. So now we need to go inside this over here, and here what you need to do means you need to see what are the method you have defined that you need to implement in this implementation. So let's say implements what? Student service done. So you'll get an error over here. That's because so we have implements student service over here. So that's why it will shows as to add a unimplemented method. So what is my unimplemented method means? So let me click over here. I'll tell you what is it. So the method which we defined in student service, right? The method which we defined, that we are implementing. As you can see, we have a open and close curly braces. So this have been override from student service. Okay. So now we'll type the code one by one, but wait. See, first and foremost thing, what we need to do, we need to give a connection to our database, right? We need to give a connection to our database. So what we can be able to do means we'll create a new package where that package is going to handle the connection between our Spring Boot application to MySQL Workbench or our to a server. Okay, let's create a new package called util. Okay, package name will be like okay, let's give it as class. Class name will be db util. So db util means database util. Okay, means database kind of stuff. Okay, and the package name will be com.college.util. I'll keep it as util, means miscellaneous something like that. So keep it as util. So here we have db util, right? So now we'll write all the code, means that now we'll give a connection from this. See, if you want to store a data in our database means we need a connection. So that we can able to write in our implementation as well. But what if suppose you have many implementation files? Okay, in our case we have only one student service sample, right? But what if we want many implementation files? So that's why it's really difficult, and the code duplication is also occurs. So that's why we're gonna store all the database functionality or all the database code in a single file, and with that single file we can able to call this method. Okay, means the connection method. Okay, so first let's say private connection. So connection, we don't have any class, but this is the inbuilt in Java. So connection, and I'm going to create an object for this connection. So let's say connection in smaller cases means this is an object. Connection is equal to null. Starting, I'm going to keep this connection as a null, and here you can see error because that you need to import from here. If you see the import over here, this has been imported from SQL. Okay, from java.sql. connection has been imported. Okay, so starting connection will be none. Obviously, connection will be none. So let's check if, okay, wait, before that let's write a method private private oh sorry private, let's say private static. So why I'm giving static, because the connection is not going to change anytime, right? So it will be a static all the time, so that's why I'm giving a static. So private static, and the return type of this method will be connection type, and the function name will be like get connection. Okay, like this is the method name. And I'm gonna, yeah, first we'll start one by one. Okay, first, if the connection, okay, if the connection, okay, wait, if connection is not equal to null, means starting we have declared as null, right? If it is not null means if it is not null means connection has been established already, right? So if it is not null means directly will return the connection, return the connection. Simple. Okay, I hope you guys don't have any um tough thing, I mean any confusion over here. Okay, so if connection also, yeah, if connection is not equal to null, oh wait, what's the error over here, let me check. Yeah, one more thing. See, whenever using this connection means normally we won't get any errors through our database, so we'll get the exceptions. So that's why our Java or our ID is recommending that please enclose this in a try catch method. Suppose if you get any exception means you can able to what you can able to um, find the exception very easily. So let's surround this through a try catch method. So let's say surround with try catch. Okay, like this. Actually, it's not required over here. Wait, let me check once again. So, oh, sorry. If connection is not equal to null. Okay, yeah. We'll move forward, and we can, yeah, we can move forward. We'll see later. Later we'll add this. Okay. So else, if connection is null, if it is not null, obviously we're going to return the connection. If it is null, we'll give a connection manual. So here, let's say string is string driver is equal to, I'll tell you what are the details you need to add over here. Okay, and one more thing, you want string URL is equal to, that also will be double quotes and a semicolon. And next we have string user, which is our username, so like this. And next we have the password. Okay, so string password, string password is equal to like this. So now you need to give all the data over here. Okay, let's say how to give all this data. Okay, so first what you want is you need to go for this application.properties. So here you have your URL, so just copy that URL. Okay, now paste it in this URL part. Okay, URL done. So next we want the driver. So driver will be, okay, actually I know the driver, so I am gonna type the driver over here. Just this is the default one, no need to remember this, you can get it in the internet as well. So com dot mysql dot cj dot jdbc dot driver. Okay, this is the driver for MySQL workbench. Okay, so next we have a username. My username, by default your username will also be root, and password you need to enter your password which you gave while installing your MySQL workbench. So I have gave as 123456789. All right, the next we'll give a connection. So before that there is a one more line called class dot for name, and here we need to mention the driver. Okay, simple. So this is done. And see, normally you'll get this entire code in the internet as well. So what is the code, Java code for connecting Java application to Spring, database means you will directly get this kind of code. You can directly take from the internet as well. So no need to remember this. So let's say, so if connection, so let's give a connection over here. Connection is equal to driver manager dot get connection. So get connection you need to give one by one. So first will be URL, second will be user, and third will be root. Oh sorry, third will be password. Comma password, and it's done. Semicolon. So at the end, what you want to do means you need to return the connection. Okay. So let's say over here, and here you'll be getting, obviously you'll be getting. So let's throw this in try catch first. So I'm mentioning this in wait, we are getting one more. Okay. Okay. So let's say just a second, and throw declaration, and so over here change connection to static. Oh, okay. Here I have forgot to mention the static over here. That's why it was getting error. Okay, yeah. So then we are good. All right. So now at the end, when everything is fine, so we need to return the connection. So here the catch is finished. So let's say return the connection. Okay, very simple. So done. Everything is done. So now let's say this. Okay. So now if we directly call this method means obvious means this connection means database connection you get in your code. Okay. So let's save everything. All right. So now you go to your implementation part. So let's try to implement this method one by one. Okay. So yeah, let's start. So first you want a list. You want a list where you can able to store your data. Okay. So let's say a list. List. Let's say I'll specify the type of this list. Student. Okay. So list name will be student list is equal to new array list, and type will be student, and like this. So here what I did, I just created a new list. See what are the data we are getting from the database that we will be storing in a list, and that list we are going to return it. So here we are in this method, you can see it is returning null, right? So we are going to return the list, and the data for this list we'll get from the database. Okay. So now everyone just follow, concentrate over here, and here what are we are typing. So same, if you understand this method how we are doing, you can able to do any method you want. Like you can implement your code any way you want. Okay. So let's continue. Here what we need to do first is, so we have created a separate file for database, right? So to give a connection from our Spring Boot application to our MySQL Workbench or to our database, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to call that method, okay, which is here. You can see we have created a method called get connection, right? So I'll, instead of writing all this, so that's why I have created a separate file. Okay. So I can call this method. See that method, if I call this method in this particular file or this particular function means I can able to directly connect to my database. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to call that function in a constructor. So what is this constructor is? So constructor is nothing but, so when our class is called, the constructor will be called automatically. So how? So the method name of a function, or the method name will be a same as the class name. So when this class is called, the constructor, for that method we call it as a constructor. So let's say, let's create a constructor over here. So let's copy the class name. Let's say public method name, which is for this we call it as a constructor. See, the method name is also same as our class name. So whenever this class is getting called, this method will be called automatically. So same way, whenever this method is or this class is getting called, I want to call the connection automatically. So what I'm going to do, first I'm going to create a connection over here at this point. Let's say connection Okay, and object of this connection is connection in small cases. Okay, so let's import this connection from an SQL. So let's import this. So like this, as you can see, if you observe the import, this connection has been imported from SQL. So like this. So connection. So this is an object of this connection. Okay, so let's say here connection is equal to. So I want to call this particular this class ka what method. So first what I want to do, I'll do like this. So what is the class name? dbutil, right? So dbutil dot get, what is the class name? So let's copy the method name over here, get connection. Okay, so let's paste it over here, get connection, and close parenthesis and semicolon. So here we're getting an error because we need to import this class to this particular file. So for student service sample, so let's import this. Okay, so here it is not showing, so let's check whether a spelling everything is correct or not. And he, if you see, u is capital. Yeah, so I think now we can import this. So yes, it's imported. All right, and here it is showing to chain visibility of get connection. Okay, it could be a chain visibility of get connection to public. Okay, okay, here we have mentioned private, so that's why. Okay, no problem. We are good. So as of now, it is showing to mention it is in the throw, to add a throw declaration. So let's add this. So no problem with that. Okay. Suppose if we get any error, means this is going to capture. So that's about it. This is going to handle the exceptions, like SQL exceptions or anything. All right. Okay. So now, what we are going to do? Let's write this method. Okay. So first, what do you want? First and foremost thing. So here we have a student list we have already created. So whatever the data we are getting from the database, that will be stored in the list. Okay. So first I'm not, what I'm going to do, I don't want to store one by one. So first I'll create an object of a student. Okay. I'll create an object of a student. Student, we have a class as student stu stud. Okay. Stud is an object of student. Okay. Like this is equal to new student, like this. So here we have our object. So now what I'm going to do, what all the data I'm getting from the database, that I'm going to store those data in an object. This object I can directly pass it in my list. I'll show you how to do that. So I have already created an object of a student. So now we will write a query. So to write a query, there is something called prepaid statement. So you can able to execute, you can able to write the query in prepaid statement in Java. So let's say prepaid statement. So prepaid statement, and I'll create an object called stmt for prepaid statement. So this is a prepaid statement and stmt is an object. So we can give your name as well, no problem. This is just an object. Okay. So which is equal to, so from this connection, okay, connection dot prepare statement. So inside this, I'm going to write my query. So what is my query? So what query I should write over here? So I want to fetch all the details of a student. So let's say our query will be simple. Select star from, what is our table name? So let's check in our database. So here we have our where is our application? Our database is student. Okay, this is our database, right? So students is our table, right? Students is our table. So already we have entered one value, so we can get this. So let's say yeah, we'll go to our Eclipse again. Select star from students, or can do it like this as well. Students is our table name. Okay, so at the end semicolon. So now it is showing an error. Why? Because when you are using connection, normally you won't get error in database related kind of stuff. So it is recommending that to try this statement in a try catch way. So let's surround this with try catch. So like this, it is done. So that statement is in try and catch. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, so let's execute this statement or execute this query. How to execute this query? So to execute this query is very simple. stempty is an object of this prepared statement, right? So stempty dot execute query. Okay, execute query. Simple. Okay, so now we know. See, when I call all the data, see, when I run the select star from student, I'll get all the data, right? So see, this is the first column, second column, third column, fourth column, fifth, sixth, right? So I want to fetch each and every column data of a table. Means I need to iterate each and every column. See, first row, first column, I'll get one. First row, second column, I'll get John, right? Same thing. If I have a data something called in the second row, means second row, first column means I get the number two. Second row, second column means I get the second name of this, right? So same thing, I need to iterate that. So what I'm going to do, there is something called result set. So whatever the data we are getting from this query, I'll store it in a result set. So it will be very easy to iterate that using result set. So result set is equal an object of result set is rs like this. So we need to import this result set over here. So let's import this. Very simple. So what are the query you are executing? You'll get some values, right? So that we will be storing in an object of result set. Simple. So now using this result set, so we have all our students data in this result. So using this, we can able to fetch one by one. Okay. So let's say like this. What's our object name of students? So stud stud dot set. What's the first column? Set id rs means object of result set rs dot get. What is the what is the data type of this id? I guess we have gave as int, right? So we need to mention as get int like this. Inside this we need to specify the column name. So it is the column one, right? So like this. Understood? So let's try another one. So you're gonna understand. This is a student object, means whatever the value we are getting from this result, right, that we are storing in an object. So start dot set second will be name. So rs dot get. So name is of type string. So get string in the second column. Okay, like this. Simple. Means it's a column index. So student object dot set. What's our next column? Next column is branch email address phone. So branch rs dot get string of third column and third dot set. Next we have, I guess, address or email. I forgot. Okay, so we have email then address. Okay, email. So rs dot get string of 4. So next we have address. So stat dot set address rs dot get string of fifth column, and at last one stud dot set phone rs phone we gave as int, right? So rs dot get int. Okay, like this. The column index is 6. Simple. So got it, very simple. So if you didn't understand, see this video properly. So we have mentioned id as the int, so that's why we are giving get int. So name, branch, email address we mentioned as string, so that's why it is string. So phone also we set as int, so that's why it is int. So if you want to see this over here, as you can see, id is int, phone is int, rest all are string. Simple. So now let's what we need to, what all the data we are getting from the table that we are storing in the object. So I'm going to add this object to a list. Simple. So what's our list? What's our list? Student list dot add. So inside this stud, and at the end give a semicolon. That's all. Simple, very simple. Understanding? So only you need to understand these two lines and this line, fourth step, fifth step. I mean, first step, oh, okay. First step to make an object of for any model. Second step, writing a query. Third step, executing the query. Or what are the value you're getting that's storing in an object. So adding that object to a list. So at the end, when we run this method, this is going to return a list. Okay. So let's run this method. Wait, before that, we need to create an API for that, right? So we want to call this function through a controller. So let's go to this controller now. Okay. So let's create an API. Okay. So let's say like this. Okay. So public, and we know it is going to return a list, so I'll mention as list of type what, of type student. Okay, so next let's say get student details. This is the function name I am giving. You can give any method name you want, like this. So this is going to return a method, but first let's import this list first. So importing this list and importing the student, we need to call this method, right? So we need to call this method, right? So how we can able to call, and we have missed out something. So what is it means? So here is a service, right? So if I create an object of this service in a controller means, okay, I'll show you. I'll show you. Don't worry. So here we have one method, right? Get students. So let's call the students in here. So for that we need to create a object of that service. So private, what is the class name or the interface name of your student service, right? So private student service, I'm going to create an object. Say stud student service. This is an object of student service. Okay, let's give a semicolon, and here you'll get an error, means to import that student service over here. So if you observe this in the import section, so this student service has been imported from com.college.service. We have a package, right? com.college.service. Inside that we have a student service. So that student service has been imported over here. Okay. So next, see, okay, let's type it. So return this dot, what is the method name? Student service dot. So you can see get students method, which is defined in student service. We can able to see over here. But wait, here we have declared the method, but we want the implementation of this, right? So what we need to do here, this implementation, you mention it as at service. So whenever we mention at service means the method you have defined over here, it is going to call the implementation of that. So this is the implementation. So like this. Okay. And one more thing. So here in the controller, what you need to mention it as, you need to mention it as at auto while. So the reason, because so we don't want to call this method, so we want to call this implementation method, right? So that's why auto wire means connecting from one to another. So auto wiring. Okay, simple. So when we mention this auto wire, this is going to give our own implementation method. Simple. So now like this. Okay, so let's save this and run this application. Let's check. Oh wait, see, we have written a method over here, but we didn't created an API, correct? So how are we going to call this method, right? So let's create an API. So at get mapping. So here open bracket. So let's give an API name as slash students. So whenever give slash students in our URL, so we need to get all the student details. So let's save this. Okay, let's save this. And here, so select your application, click the right button, go for run as Java application. Okay, so our project is going to start in few seconds. Okay, so it is starting to take some time. So let's click on OK, and you can able to observe in the console your application will be starting in the console. And if we get any error, means we'll try to solve that. Okay, yeah. So yeah, application has been started, and once it's done, I'll show you how you can change the port number as well. So I'll show you that. Okay, since by default our application is running in port number 8080, right? So suppose if you want to change the port number, you can also change the port number. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, my application has been started. So now go to your, see, we have two API. One is hello and one is students. We'll check both of them. So go to your browser, Chrome or anything. So let's say localhost 8080 slash first will give this API, which is hello. We'll get that hello text. So hello learners, welcome to new Spring Boot text. Right? So next we'll give that API name, which is students. So hit enter. So now it is not giving us a list. So there could be an issue. Let's check that what is that issue. Means it is not giving the list. And one more thing, guys. Yeah, okay. First check that error and I'll tell you what is it. So here it is showing an error. So let's check what is it. So before start of result, there is an SQL exception. So okay, let's see this method. What is that error is? Okay. Okay, result set execute query select start from students. Okay, this looks good. Oh, okay. We have made one mistake. So what does it means? See, in this result, as I told you, result, see, in database in a single table there will be a plenty of data, right? Correct? There will be a plenty of data, like one row, two row, 100 rows, many rows will be there. So we need to go row by row. Means we need to iterate one by one. Means we need to go for the first row and we need to print everything, and then we need to go for the second row and we need to print everything, right? So row by row means we need to iterate one by one. Means iteration means we need to use a loop that we didn't use over here. So that was a mistake. So whatever the data we have over here, right? So let's enclose this everything in a single row. I'll use y. Okay. So y here, let's say rs dot next. See, rs dot next means rs is our object of result set. When it is going to read the first row, it is going to give first row column. So when it is going to read the second row, it is going to give the second column details, something like that. Okay. So now after this means just after while open a bracket and here close the bracket. Done. Simple. So now save this, save the files. Okay. Stop your server again and restart your, run your application again. So Java application. Okay. Okay. Yeah, click on OK again. So application started. Yeah, it started. And now it is started. So now I'm going to go for my Chrome browser and see here we have API. It is not going to give any text. So let's refresh this. So now we need to get the data. See, we have already stored one data, right, which is John, computer science, this data. So that data we need to get over here. So yeah, still application is starting. So yeah, that's why. So let's refresh this again. Okay, so probably now we'll get all the data. Okay, see, I have got, see, in our database we have John, computer science, john@mail.com, Bangalore 1545342. So that value is coming over here. You are understanding? So probably you guys are getting something like this, I believe, correct? So if you want to make your output some looks like this, means if this is a JSON format. So if you want to make your output to look like this, means so you can able to observe your output very neat and perfect, right? So to do that, go for a new tab and search for JSON format, JSON format extension. Okay, here you can able to see a first link JSON formatter Chrome. So that you need to add an extension for your Chrome. See, as you can see, in my case, it has been already added. As you can see, it is showing as removed from Chrome. Means in your case, it will show as add to Chrome. Okay, so you just add that. So you'll get this kind of, like the output, you'll get something like this. See, we have only added one data, right? So now we'll go to our database and we'll try to add 2-3 more datas and we'll try to fetch them. Okay, I'm not going to touch my Eclipse again. Eclipse is starting, means I'm just adding pushing the data in my backend, means in our database. So probably somewhere I have written, okay, here I have already written the query over here. So I'll take this query only and I want to modify. So first I gave as 1, right? So I'm going to change it as 2 and instead of John, let's say Doraemon. Okay, so Doraemon from computer science. Let's keep it as computer science. And Doraemon and Bangalore, and we'll change the number. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, as you can see. Okay, yeah, there is an issue. What is it? Oh, okay, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's correct. Okay, sorry. This is our database, right? So I need to set it as default. I removed that previously. So now run this. So as you can see, that execution is done. So yes. So now I want to insert two more. Two, I am going to remove this two. Let's make it a little bit bold so that you can see. And I'm going to make it 3. Instead of Doraemon, I'm going to change it as let's say Doraemon Sky. Okay, or Jack. That Jack, a Red Ranger in SPD. So information science and Jack from Delhi. So some numbers. Okay, so let's run this again. Okay, so now if you go to your table over here and if you run this, you can able to see all 3 data. See, John, Doraemon, Jack. So don't do anything. I mean, now go to your browser directly. See, we have only one data, right? But now we have in a database, we have 3 data. So let's refresh this. Okay, so now as you can see, you are getting Jack twice, and yeah, let's refresh this again. Okay, Jack, you are getting. Where is Doraemon? John, Jack. Okay, where is Doraemon? Doraemon data is not coming. Okay, yeah, we'll do one thing. And one more thing, if you observe over here, so when I refresh, same data is repeating. Correct? Same data is repeating. So why? Because so we need to do something. Means we need to, whenever we refresh this, we need to clear the list. So how we can do that? So just go to your code again. Here at this part, before this try, let's clear the list. So what is the student list? Student means whenever this method is called, previously what all the list are there, that is has to be removed, and newly list has to be updated. So like this, clear. Okay, simple. So now we go to our browser again. I mean, we need to stop this and save this and restart your application again. Okay, so run as Java application. Simple. Okay, my application is starting. Click on OK. All right. So it will take a few seconds time to start your application. And yeah, it started almost. Okay. Yeah, it's starting. Yeah, so it started. I'll go to my Chrome now. So let's refresh the same thing. So you should get the data of students from the database itself. Yeah, it's, I think still application is not yet started complete. Yeah, it's still starting. Yeah. So now you can able to see, oh, we are getting only the Jack. Okay, why? So let's check this. Okay, so we'll go to our code. Okay, could be there could be some issue with this. Okay, yeah, let's see. Or could be an issue with this as well. Okay, like something we have included, something like that. Or select star from students, we get all of this. So let's see this. We have made any mistakes, means we'll check this rs.list. Okay, here we are in our code, so we need to check actually what's happening. Okay, so everything looks good. Oh wait, see, I have created an object in the beginning. When this function is called, an object has been created, and when this object is creating means whenever we refresh, this function is getting called. So that's why the size of this 3 is coming. So the first 2 digit, I mean the first 2 data is not executing. So how we can fix that means you need to cut this from here and you need to paste it after this while. Okay, so if you do something like this means whatever, see, when this value is executing for the first time, the first value will be executing and that will be storing in a list. All right, so again a new object has been creating. When this value is executing for the second time, a new object will be saved in this object and that will be stored in the list. Understanding? So when we define this over here, this is executing the same thing twice. So that's why we were not getting the two data. So now it is good. So let's stop this server and run our application. So run as Java application. Okay. Click on OK. As you can see, our application is almost started. We need to wait until this gets completed. So yeah, I guess it started. So now go to your Chrome browser. So let's refresh this. So now we got all the data. Like as you can see, one is John, second one is Doraemon and Jack. So now, so when you, how many times you refresh, you're not going to get the multiple data of this. So that's the reason we have added a clear list over here. Understanding? So simple. So I hope you guys understood with this video and I hope you guys have learned from this video. So thank you for watching this video guys, and in the next video what we are going to do, we'll be creating one more API to add a data. So now we are getting a data, right? So we are getting a data from database. So in the next video we'll see how we can able to add a data to a database. Okay, so let's meet you guys in the next video. Until then, take care. Goodbye. Bye bye.